Day one of the combine is in the books. Linebackers and defensive linemen on full display today. I'm going to give you my winners and my losers. You stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Tommy's Takes. As always, I'm your host, Tommy G. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. Please do hit that subscribe button, drop some comments, turn notifications on. Also, check me out on Twitter, TommyG105, and of course, check out my Giants Country team. Whether you like articles, interviews, podcasts, tweets, whatever you like when it comes to Giants analysis, Giants Country has it. Let's get started. Day one of the NFL Combine is in the book. Defensive linemen, linebackers. We really did learn a lot today. We're going to go over some winners and unfortunately some, we won't call them losers, some opportunity players. But first, we'll do a little bit of house cleaning. Joe Schoen on Good Morning Football doing an interview this morning. Basically reiterated what he's been saying. They're working hard with Daniel Jones on getting a contract going, talking every single day with Jones' agents, representatives. Did mention the tag quite a few times when talking about Daniel Jones, maybe trying to dangle that carrot, let his agents know he's still in charge. And he still has the leverage because Jones can't go anywhere. Giants could tag him and wipe their hands, and let's see how it goes this season. But don't think it's going to go in that direction. Joe Schoen sound confident they could get a deal done soon. He did admit he's feeling the time crunch a little bit. Obviously, they need to make something happen by Tuesday. That's when you have to franchise tag a player. But after you tag a player, you can rescind a tag if you do come to a deal. But you also have Saquon Barkley, who now the Giants may want to tag. That kind of complicates a little bit what you want to do. So I think ideally they want to get a long-term deal done with Daniel Jones here soon. And then, try to work something out with Barkley. Seems like they want to get something done with Barkley as well. And it was interesting because they asked Joe Schoen, this is Daniel Jones' first time going through contract negotiations. Is there anything you told him? And he was very frank. He said, listen, Daniel, there's a business side here, and you got to prep for that. We appreciate you, everything you've done. Our feelings will not change about you, but this process can be a little bit tough, especially in negotiations. The franchise is going to bring up some negatives about Jones, some opportunities he might have. But that was interesting to see that Joe Schoen kind of zeroed in on that human touch to his quarterback that will be back for a long time. I found that interesting. As far as Barkley, spoke again about closing the gap. How close to closing the gap, nobody knows. Did speak about not having the best supporting cast around Jones and Barkley and, how the Giants try to fix that, how he tried to fix that early in the offseason last year and was only able to do so much. But overall, my thoughts, again, haven't changed. They're going to try to get a long-term deal done with Daniel Jones here before Tuesday. I do think now they will tag Saquon Barkley. I know the rumor came out a couple weeks ago that Joe Schoen was not interested in tagging Barkley. Well, we know Barkley's not interested in the tag. That'll be another little nuance to watch if they do tag Saquon Barkley. Does he play on it? Does he come out and say, okay, cool, I'm a team guy. I'll show you what I could do once again? Or does he say, wow, number 2 overall draft pick. I fought through injuries, rookie of the year, almost won comeback player of the year last season. That's going to be really interesting to see because, players have egos. Players have pride. So if he goes on the tag, who knows what's going to happen. But still a little bit of ways away from there. I mean, listen, it's a tough situation. And, it may be in his only second year as a GM, Joe Schoen. But this will actually be his 22nd combine. Started out many moons ago as a scout. Told the story today about how he used to have to wake up at 4 a.m. at the combine and go sleep basically across 5 seats to save some seats for his bosses. That was pretty cool. But all in all, honestly, listening to Joe Schoen speak is quite refreshing. After the Dave Gettleman era where you barely heard him talk, and when he did talk, he was always the smartest guy in the room. So very refreshing to hear him speak. I'm excited to see what he does in his second offseason with the Giants. Okay, let's get to the combine. So, news started out first. There were 2 players the Giants already had informal interviews with. One was B.J. Ojulari, Azeez Ojulari's younger brother, obviously Azeez, defensive end for the New York Giants. He had an interview. Probably will go in the 3rd round, I would say, B.J. So I'm not sure if the Giants would take him there. Obviously, he would love to come play with his brother. Not sure the Giants would take him there. Fine player, a great pass rusher, not as refined as his older brother, but that could change when you get to the NFL. Don't really see the Giants taking him in the third round. Don't think they need an edge rusher that desperately to take him that early. Second player was Arkansas linebacker Drew Sanders. He is a fascinating prospect, a middle linebacker, but he is an awesome edge rusher. Probably more natural edge rusher at the next level in the NFL than a Mike linebacker. Definitely needs a lot of refinement if he wants to play Mike linebacker in the NFL. But really awesome edge rusher. Ton of pass rush moves. He could rip, he could dip, he could spin. Drew Sanders is going to make some team happy, but the Giants did do their informal interview with him, and supposedly things went well. So those are two players to keep in mind. They've already had their interview with the Giants. Obviously, B.J. Ojulari is fascinating because he has the relations there. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Fascinating combine. A couple of quick takeaways. The speed that these defensive linemen and linebackers had was just ridiculous. And the NFL just continues to get faster, and faster every single year. I mean, you're watching guys that are over 300 pounds, run a 4.6 40. It's unbelievable. Strength-wise, I mean, they might have to get some bigger guys to hold the tackle dummies. They were getting knocked over. They were getting flim-flammed every which way. Speed, strength on full display today at the Combine. It was remarkable. He had some great performances. I'll start with Nolan Smith out of Georgia. My goodness. 4.4 40, 41-inch vertical. I mean, he might have made himself a ton of money in this combine, honestly. Just remarkable. Obviously, a great player at Georgia. His stock was already high. But when you look into the numbers for Nolan Smith, I mean, 4.4 40. It's just ridiculous. I mean, for a linebacker, it's just absurd to run a 4.4 40, to be that big, and to have that vertical jump tested off the charts. Maybe somebody the Giants take a look at, right? Never know. And Joe Shane spoke about that this morning too. And he's like, hey, well, he was asked, what do you think about this draft in specific? Is it a super talented draft? What do you think the strengths are at? He didn't rank it. He just said, hey, we always go with best player available. If it happens to mirror our needs, even better. But we're going to go best player available. And Nolan Smith was off the charts today. Unbelievable. You also had Kalijah Cansey from Pittsburgh, defensive tackle, ran the fastest 40 time by a defensive tackle since 2003. He ran a 4.67 for a defensive tackle. I mean, just absurd numbers. Absurd. Also, when you look at a defensive tackle, and obviously, and I wanted to bring this up also, not every drill is meant for every position. So what I mean by that is a defensive tackle running a 40 is not always the best barometer of if they're going to be a great player. They're not going to really run 40 yards on the field probably ever. So it's not really a great barometer, but still remarkable. It just shows the type of athlete. Next up, I had Will McDonald, defensive end from USC. Extremely smooth in his drills, fluid hips. I mean, just a hell of a player. Obviously, again, Giants probably not in the market for an edge rusher, but you never know. Best player available. You can never have enough edge rushers. Ernie, of course, he taught everyone that. When the Giants had their NASCAR defensive package with Matthias Kiwanuka and Michael Strahan, O.C. Umenyiora, Tollefson, you can go on and on and on. Never have enough edge rushers, pass rushers in this league. All right, so to players that were, I'd say, lost a little bit in the opportunity department. Baylor defensive lineman Siaka Ika, just slow. Really didn't look good in drills, not smooth at all. I think it hurts his stock a little bit, honestly. And like I said just now, you can't take too much from 40 time from a defensive lineman, but he wasn't great in the drills either. Brenton Cox from Florida, same thing. I expected him to run in the high 4.6s, ran a 4.85, definitely hurt his stock. And I was also a little surprised by Trenton Simpson. Not in a bad way. He ran a 4.5 40. I thought he'd be a little bit faster because he is an athletic linebacker. He is an off-ball linebacker. He's going to be in coverage a lot. He's not your traditional Mike linebacker at the next level. So I thought the 4.5 was a little bit slow, but still a tremendous player. Still will probably be the first linebacker off the board come April. And that was it. I really didn't see too many losers, players with opportunities. I thought everybody came out to perform. I thought the speed was off the charts. Strength was off the charts. And this is an area for the Giants defensive line. Joe Shane was asked, what did you think of your interior defensive line depth during the season? He said 2 words, not great. So Giants could be players in a few of the performances you've seen today. And we'll see. But that was day 1. All in all, a couple guys to keep an eye on. Nolan Smith from Georgia, Kalijah Cansey from Pitt, and Will McDonald from Florida. Awesome performances across the board. USC, excuse me, not Florida. I was thinking of someone else. Awesome performances across the board, but that was just day 1 in the books. Day 2 will be tomorrow and should be a great show. Also, really quick, when it comes to the combine, something else you always want to take into account is that some players are not going to be there. Some players are not going to perform. They're going to choose to go to their pro days. They're going to choose to do things how they want to do it. Doesn't take them out in my book. I don't count them out for not going to the combine. To each his own. But interesting to see when it comes time to draft some of these players. GMs are going to go with what they're most familiar with. And they're going to go with the players that were in the combine most of the time, not all of the time. So always in a player's benefit to go to the combine. There were a couple players injured today that couldn't make it, unfortunately. Tomorrow you're looking at defensive backs. That should be a good one. I heard somebody say today Giants should take a defensive back within the first 2 rounds. And they might be right. If you look at the Giants secondary, you have Julian Love, who's probably about to walk. You have Adoree Jackson, who was obviously their cornerback number 1, has had some injury issues the last couple of years. Other than that, you don't have much. You have Cordell Flott, came on at the end of last season, extremely young, moldable, manageable, so he should be a good one. Darnay Holmes probably going to be a cap casualty, didn't play well last year. So keep an eye on those cornerbacks day 2 tomorrow, and keep it locked right here to Tommy's Takes. I'll be here to go through it. For now, peace.